We are live. Hello. Sorry about confusion. So basically, what happened was I had went live like 30 minutes ago, but for some reason it just didn't work out. But anyways, we are back. I'm redoing this because I forgot to unmute my microphone on my streaming platform. So sorry to the people who see the notification again. Anyways, today we're here to discuss Australian Survivor Rebels vs. Titans, episode 3. So, yeah, we start this episode panning over to the Titans tribe, where we get Eden having a confessional talking about the fact that his name was out there, the fact that he wants people gone and to write down his name, and that they, getting that like confessional of like, oh, I'm happy I survived the tribal, blah blah blah, whatever, right? And then we get him talking about his main alliance consisted of himself, Kitty, Mark, and Carrion, aka the middle-aged mafia. And first of all, great name. Good to know we actually have a name for his like main alliance, because before it was just like the Seven. Then we had the invisible hand of him and Mark as a duo. Now we have the middle-aged mafia, which is just great. I love it when we get older players who actually want to play, who are actually willing to like do something. I think that's really cool and awesome. Then we pan over the rebels, and we get a confessional from Peter talking about how there seems to be her crew of the fit, athletic people of herself, Sarah, Alex, and Tobias. The four of them have really hit off. And as we already know from my previous recap, from Sarah's perspective, that was also what's happening. So yeah, the four of them are together. And then Kirby, good old Kirby, not from Smash Bros, unfortunately, just talks about, well, we get a confessional from Kirby talking about how she wants to play the middle and how this game is about strategy. That's what she does for her job. And originally coming into the season, I thought to myself, oh god, Kirby's just going to worry about keeping the tribe strong. But no, I was very wrong with that assessment. Or at least this episode. You know what I mean? And a lot of people had Kirby as their preseason pick of like their winner, and I was like, I get it, but like also not no. But I could totally see it now. But we'll get off to the fact that I'm just saying what everyone on Twitter is saying, because that's like, oh, he doesn't have his own opinions. Anyways, so Kirby talks about wanting to play the middle and how this game's about strategy, and then she says she tells us how she's noticed there's this alliance that's formed. And normally, when people are talking about like alliances that they're not a part of, it's like, oh yeah, there's that alliance that like probably want me gone, blah blah, great, or they have to go. Instead, we get Kirby giving us this amazing confessional about how like this isn't Love Island, this is Survivor, because she calls the four of Alex, Peter, Sarah, and Tobias. Get ready, it's a very hilarious name. The Cuddle Crew. And I was like, oh my god. And then Kirby was in the confessional, was like, they sleep together, they cuddle together, they cuddle each other together, like they keep each other safe. And I was like, like, this is great. This is awesome. This is what the content we strive for. Okay. Like, Australian Survivor Rebels vs. Titans, like, this confessional is the top. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite moments of the season so far. Anyways, we go into the reward challenge, and basically it's a 2v2. where they have to first person to climb over this, get out of this cage, they essentially wins a point for their tribe. And yeah, fast forward to a 3-1 reward win with the Titans winning the reward. The challenge is pretty cool. I really thought it was interesting. I don't know. I find it entertaining when people are just like someone's trying to climb, another person's like holding up the gap, trying to drag their body down. I just thought that was funny. Like I really did. And then also, if you haven't noticed, I've got massive sunburn recently. That's because I played Melbourne Survivor Trial yesterday, and that is what this buff is. If you can tell. Yeah, I can't tell if you could see that, but that's basically what my buff is. Because yeah, otherwise I'd be wearing my pink $3 bandana today. But yeah, no, we're changing it up. Gotta have some spice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as I said before, like, I really thought it was a really interesting reward, and as I've said before in previous recaps, challenges are the most boring part for me. So if you can make the challenges interesting, then yeah, hell yeah. And then we see Nathan, Jaden, Tobias, and Alex do this at the end of their new challenge, which is a pretty generic thing, right? Especially for guys, where they're just like, yeah, good game, bro, like good job, good try, whatever, good effort, And then Raymond, good old Raymond. Well, he doesn't announce it, but he says it quietly. He's like, oh yes, they are gonna be in an alliance. That's the future alliance. And I was just like, I mean, first of all, it's good that you're thinking about the future, but maybe don't express that out loud. You know what I mean? We're currently live, so give me a sec, guys. Just gonna plug my charger on because my laptop is about to die. The good part about me being live is you get real content of me actually moving around and trying to figure out what I'm doing. So if something goes wrong, you guys get a great a front row seat. Is my laptop charging? We'll find out. Give me a second, guys. Is it charging? I can't tell. Normally, it has this bar thing that goes up, but today it's just it's not popping up. So what's the deal with that? I just want to understand if it's charging or not. Give me a sec, guys. Alright, I'm gonna have to watch it very carefully because I cannot tell if it's charging or not. If this ends up dying, okay, it just turned to 11%. It was on 10% before, which means it is charging. Okay, good to know. Sorry about that inconvenience, y'all. I did not expect that to happen. Anyways, where were we? We were discussing. Where were we discussing? Having a mind blank, during the live. Can't wait. To be fair, I was rudely interrupted. Thanks, laptop. Anyways. I should really start writing notes, but I don't. Because this is just memory from watching. Okay, so basically, yeah. Raymond was talking about, as I said before, Raymond was saying it out loud. He was like, oh yeah, they're going to be a future aunt. And as I said before, it's great that he's thinking that, but maybe don't express that out loud. That's kind of bad. Another thing I wanted to bring up, which is kind of similar to the thing about Raymond, which I don't like when it comes to strategy, when it comes to the game. I've been seeing a lot of people I've seen Jaden do this. I've seen Aiden do this. I think Charles did this. Viola's done this before. I've seen Mark do this. I've seen a lot of people, for some reason, not that they get too excited when they win or when something good happens, but like they'll be like, "Woohoo!" Or like Viola, for example, will be screaming out, "Not today, Rebels! Not today!" And I'm like, "Girl, don't say that. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. That is literally one of the worst things you can say right now because I am trying." Well, first of all, if you're in Rebels and you hear someone scream out, "Not today, Rebels, not today!" Like during their music challenge, I'd be like, okay, she's never going to work with us or she's going to want to be tight and strong. Which is bad news because if you're Rebels, for example, you'll be like, well, if she doesn't want to work with us, then screw her, you know what I mean? And that's potentially creating enemies with a whole bunch of people who you have no relationship with. And that's literally half the cost. That is literally half the cost. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, I understand celebrating, but from a strategic aspect, please just stop screaming at the top of your lungs. Just stop, because it's going to hurt you going forward. Because yeah, it's not good gameplay. Like you're kind of showing your cards, or like Rihanna today. Well, I say today, but when the episode 3 came out, because I know I'm doing this a few days later, but that's just because I had the Melbourne trial on, and just But anyways, I was gonna make sure it was out before the 4th episode, which is coming out tonight. Yeah, we have even Rihanna today, because I rewatched the episode 3 today. She was like, she basically was like, yeah, we're strong and we're united. And I'm like, that's great, just like, don't say that out loud. Like, don't announce that in front of the entire cast. Like, do not tell people how close you are to your original tribe. Do not tell them that you are rebel strong, because that it will backfire on you. Like, if I'm a Titan who was already down in numbers, we've lost 2 immunity challenges at that point before they won the immunity challenge. You're down in numbers. There's 10 of you. If I'm a Titan, I hear Rihanna say that, my instant reaction is like, okay, well, fuck, we've got to stick together. Which, like, coming into a game like Survivor, you're already incentivized to stay original tribe strong, right? I mean, or at least that's my perception. Plus, they've been using the immunity challenges, and these are people you've been on a tribe with younger, so you're more incentivized to keep them around because you know them better, you've had time to bond with them. And I don't like people announcing that. I think it's horrible gameplay. I think it's really bad gameplay. If you're tight with someone, don't tell people you were tight. It's the same with alliances. If you have an alliance with someone, do not tell people you have an alliance. Like, this is not gaining you anything. You are not benefiting by telling people this information. All you are doing is exposing where you stand and what you're doing, and where your priorities are. Like, don't stop doing that. Unless you're like hypothetically, right? If Rihanna felt like she was on the bottom of Rebels, great move. Because you're subtly being like, okay, watch out for these people in the event of a tribe swap. I'm willing to work. They are very tight. Like, dropping in small hints, you know what I mean? Being like, yeah, we're tight, but then you're obviously playing into it, because then all of your tribe on Rebels will be thinking, oh, Rihanna said we're tight. That makes me feel better about Rihanna, because she wants to stay Rebel strong. But if you're on the bottom, like if you're a Raymond or a Kelly from the edit perspective, because we've been seeing that they're kind of like the pariahs of the tribe, or at least the Cuddle Crews, from the Cuddle Crews perspective, they are, right? It's great because you're like, okay, the Titans will want to keep me around over these other people on my original tribe in the event we are in minority and they decide to not want to cross tribal lines. And it's stuff like that, where it's like, if it was a strategic move like that, it, I could, I'd be like, you know what, Rihanna, like, that's cool. But it wasn't. I don't believe it was. But maybe we'll hear more from Rihanna's perspective. I mean, look, we didn't get a confessional from Rihanna. I mean, I think we did get a confessional from Rihanna, but it wasn't about that. But if that was like a strategic move, then yeah, I mean, great move. Oh my god. Like, get a little star, give her a sticker, like, congrats, underrated. And then, yeah, so we go into. Wait, no, I already said the thing about reward. We pan to Alex and Peter on Rebels, finding the hidden immunity idol. Cool. I mean, that's great. Obviously, in Survivor, ideally, you don't find the idol with someone seeing or knowing that you have the idol. Like, if I'm Peter, it's like, okay, it's not great, but based on what the edit's showing us, Alex is her number one. So it's not the worst thing in the world, because, I mean, I rather your number one know you have the idol than you not having the idol. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe some people would disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. Especially because it's so early on in the game, where it's like, if there's no reason for you to turn on your alliances. Anyways, and especially if, I mean, why would you look for an idol with someone if you don't feel solid with them? You know what I mean? Because, like, looking for an idol with someone is building that trust. Unless it was like an accident where someone finds you, then you have to like pretend. Then it's awkward and it causes chaos. But that wasn't what happened in that episode. We go into the meeting. Okay, so yeah, Peter finds an idol. Alex knows. That's cool. Great for their Cuddle Crew alliance. I'm actually really happy that we have people naming their alliances this season, because before in Survivor it's like the 6, the 7, the 5, the 3, the trio. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's way easier to discuss. Like, this is the crew, and it's also easier for me to remember who's in those alliances as well, because it's like, oh, it's that group or that pairing or that established community. I also want to point out, I know a recent, I have not mentioned Viola and Valeria's duo. I want to point out, it's not that I didn't think it was important to include in my previous recaps, it's just from the edit's perspective, I've just put them in as like a duo with the 7 on Titans, which was obviously the middle-aged mafia, Eden, Mark, Carrie, Kitty, Charles as a 5th extension, and then Valeria and Viola, even though the 3 of them, the 2 the V's for Vendettas and Charles, are kind of like 5th, 6th, and 7th from the editing perspective in their positioning. But obviously, that's just from Eden's perspective. There's a lot of different people's perspectives. But from what we're seeing, at least, that seems to be Mark and Eden's the invisible hand seems to be the narrative that's driving on their tribe. So that's why I didn't bring it up earlier. Because we're just trying to relate what's actually relevant to the episode, not just random duos or groups or whatever. Because obviously we've also spoken about Nathan and Winner's little thing, where Winner or Jaden Nathan, sorry, not Nathan, Jaden Winner's little duo ship that's kind of formed where winner has an idol. Jaden knows that winner has at least a tutor one idol. I don't know if he knows he has the idol, but we'll get more context later on. Obviously, if Jaden never brings it up, then maybe winner told him he had. Then either two things happened. Either A, we'll hear eventually that Jaden knows winner has the idol, or B, we'll just get that storyline will just drop and it will never be brought up, and winner will just have an idol. And though I guess winner will just pretend he didn't find it. I'm not really sure. We pan to the Rebels tribe at their camp. And yeah, Alex is just pretty fed up with Callie. Nothing new. And it's just like, okay, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, having someone in my ear screaming out, let's play Twister at night when I'm cold and tired and probably wet is probably not what I'd want either. But yeah. Then a very questionable decision goes down. A decision that I do not condone. It's not even pre-merge throwing immunity challenges. Pre-swap throwing immunity challenges before you're even out of your original tribe. Don't do it. Future Survivor players, don't do it. Australian Survivor casting, when I get on Australian Survivor and win, I'm telling you right now, I am not going to do this. I will not advocate for this because this is horrible gameplay. Great TV though. We see Tobias, Sarah, Peter, and Alex all huddled up down the beach line, kind of isolating themselves, which, yeah, not great, kind of making your alliance public, but I mean, this is Survivor, alliances are going to be pretty public because you can see people talking and hugging out and shit. Hugging out. Yeah, this is going to be like a new term, guys. It's just like, are they hugging? Like I'll be at tribal councils and we'll be like, are they hugging tonight? Like, are they going to hug the idol? Like, what have we done? This is awful. Anyways, we continue on with the Cuddle Crew, as Kirby likes to call them, and now Ferris and Garrick are involved with calling them the Cuddle Crew as well. We see them talking, and yeah, I mean, they talk about throwing the immunity challenge. Tobias is the first one to bring it up. And then Peter agrees, and I was like, Peter, you've seen Survivor. I don't understand your logic behind it. Like, I understand living with someone who you might perceive as annoying or like bad people, or someone you don't trust could be bad. But you guys haven't even been doing your first troll council yet. Yeah, you haven't even established any real alliances. You guys don't even know if you can trust each other yet. Obviously, you're forced to trust people in a game like Survivor, which is probably why they feel so comfortable talking about it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't condone it. Unless you're like throwing for a strategic purpose in the future where it's like, oh, we're going to throw the challenge. So then the other tribe, where we have majority, can vote out one of the people on the opposing side or one of the people we don't trust. But in this perspective, you have if the rebels are really getting along, there's no reason to throw the immunity challenge. Like, there's no reason for it. And I heard Shannon Gus discuss it as well on Twitter, I watched the RKP episode 1 to 3 recap with her and Rob, and even she was just like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. She was like, it's painful to watch. And I was like, I agree, Shannon Gus, I agree. It's very painful to watch. But anyways, we continue on. So the four of them, the Cuddle Crew, Sarah, Alex, Tobias, and Peter, want to further immunity challenge. Fast forward to the immunity challenge. They throw it. They throw it hard, and they make it obvious. Tobias, fast forward to the end of the challenge. Tobias is, at the end of the challenge, especially just slingshots, throwing like a beanbag or whatever at Piox and knocking them off the ground. or like the table, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, they throw Tobias is throwing Burris tribe, and like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, we heard Alex and Peter laughing in the background, and then people like Garrick were watching that, and Ferris, and we're like, that's sus. Why are you laughing that we're failing, and we're already behind, as the other tribe were like just going through it because the rebels were throwing. Well, some of the rebels were throwing the immunity challenge. I also don't understand why Sarah sat out of the immunity challenge if she genuinely wanted to throw the immunity challenge. But I need more context. I'm gonna have to reach out to Sarah and hopefully get a response back about that one because I'm curious if Sarah just wasn't on board with that plan. I mean, she was there, but from what I know, she didn't say yes to throwing it. She just kind of was like, you know what I mean? So that maybe that's why she sat out, or maybe it was just like a tribe thing when like, the majority of people were like, Sarah sits out. She was like, okay, because maybe they wanted to be strategic and be like, we have to sit people out. Maybe we'll sit out one of our strongest people today because we feel like we can win this challenge, and then we can bring her back into the next immunity challenge so then she can compete. I don't know. I'm one of those people who analyze every little thing that happens and tries to think about it, but obviously that's my perspective. We continue on. They throw the immunity challenge. And yeah, I mean, laughing is not a subtle sign of hiding your what your intentions are. Like, if I'm neutering anyone on on that tribe, I'd be like, this is so sketchy. This is so sauce. We continue on. We head to, well, fast forward the time to immunity, and they're celebrating. And at this point, I feel really bad for the Titans because they're all celebrating after they ended up winning the challenge. But you're like, if the Rebels were actually trying, yeah, they should have been. Yeah, they would have lost. They would have lost. The Rebels would have kicked their ass because it was extremely close. Because eventually Kirby steps up and is like, Tobias, I don't know what you're doing. She doesn't say this, but this is my perspective. Of Kirby's perspective, probably being like, Tobias, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck down there, like off the what's it, stage thing you want to call it, podium. I don't know why that I was struggling to come up with a word for that. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyways, Kirby goes up. She starts shotting beanbags. And yeah, Kirby's killing this challenge. Why? Because she probably does this literally all the time in AFL. I mean, she coaches. So it's about aiming and stuff. And I mean, that's what you do in footy. I mean, it's more so with your hands in. Well, here's the thing. You aim the ball like this. Either way, doesn't matter. Point is, she's good at it. She's really good at it. She's really good at aiming and throwing. But at the same time, Tobias was throwing it, so I'm not sure how hard it would be in real person. I'm not sure how difficult it would be. I mean, I've seen before. I watched a promo video once where Jonathan Ipalia tried to do it, and he was like struggling to do it, and that was kind of funny to watch. But yeah, obviously, if you're a contestant, you're like, oh god, this is awful. You're like, I can't control this. This is bad. Yeah, so yeah, Kirby almost comes in clutch, but Tobias and the Cuddle Crew definitely screwed the Rebels tribe over. Rebels goes to are going to Tribal Council. We pan to Rebels camp. Garrett sniffs it out of me. Garrett pulls Ferris aside. He's like, did that feel like we were the only ones trying? And Ferris is like nodding his head, being like, yeah, it did. And then Garrett's like, yeah, I think that was the Cuddle Crew for the mini challenge. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, it's good to know that you know that. It's like that's a good sign, obviously, because if they just weren't aware that that they were throwing the challenge, like their trimates were throwing the challenge, Yeah, they would probably just keep throwing the challenge because they wanted to get rid of Raymond and Kelly. Kelly based on annoyance from what was shown, and then Raymond because they think he's sus, but maybe also because they think he's annoying. I'm not really sure when it comes to Raymond. I just know that Alex and Peter find Kelly a bit frustrating to live with. Anyways, we see the Cuddle Crew want to split votes between Raymond and Kelly. I totally get it. I totally understand why you would want to split the votes in case of an idol. Obviously, Peter already has the idol, which Sarah and Tobias don't know. And I know another thing is we've seen in the Strange Survivor before where multiple people could have an idol or advantage, like a steal. I mean, in Strange Survivor, don't really do steal votes, but you never know. There could be some dodgy advantage. Anyways, or like tribal exit, whatever. Yeah, so we see that, and yeah, I mean, it's good that Peter's pretending that she doesn't have the idol. I mean, if she didn't even try to, that would become shit MJ. Even though you're going into your first tribal council, so you haven't established trust. So, yeah, splitting votes is risky. It's extremely risky. But I would probably do the same thing. If I felt really solid about people, I would probably push for the same thing, even though it is the first tribal council. So, it is also risky on one hand, where it's like strategically, maybe you should just not split the votes. Or if you're gonna split the votes, do it with only your small crew. You know what I mean? Like if you were like, okay, you're telling like the whole tribe, you get to vote Kelly out, for example, and then you and like if I'm Peter, for example, I'd tell Alex, Sarah, and Tobias pick just in case we should throw votes on Raymond. If she did, if Peter and the rest of the Cuddle Crew did that, I think that makes more sense because then it's that you're not relying on every single person to follow through with their plan. You know what I mean? Because we've seen in Survivor before, split vote plans have gone horribly wrong, where people will be like, okay, it's going to be 4-4, and then like one or two people flip, and or three people flip, and it's gone, and your game's over. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is Survivor, and especially since I haven't gone to tribal yet, it's very risky to feel that comfortable going into into tribal. Like the Survivors are not your friends, you know what I mean? Like they're here for themselves, so they should be if they're actually trying to play to win. Even though sometimes we obviously get some duds in the cast, but it's what it is. We continue on, and yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting that. Well, first of all, I'm happy that it wasn't just a unanimous vote because that would have been boring. Like, I would have been like, well, that sucks. Like, I'm happy we actually got like some strategy stuff going on here because, yeah, I mean, who wants to see a unanimous vote to survive? But no vote should ever be unanimous, and that's something I hold very close to my chest, I guess, at heart, whatever you call it. That's something I take very seriously when it comes in like when I play orgs or live reality games where I'm like, I honestly believe that every single vote can't be unanimous because it's not in everyone's best interest because someone goes home next. You know what I mean? Like if it's unanimous and you get voted out next, it's like, well, purely voting unanimously did not benefit you, for example, because you just went out next. Anyways, because someone will be going out next regardless, whether it's because of an idol or because of just shit social game, like, doesn't matter. Either way, someone is 100% going out next, and that's why it's so hard for alliances to stick together. Because people are like, I do trust these people, but at the end of the day, it's like, if I flip, I better my positioning, and then I can win instead of my best friend winning, you know what I mean? Anyways, the Cuddle Crew want to split votes. So the boys, Alex and Tobias let me just check who they voted for. Because okay, I have the voting count up now. Alright, so Alex and Tobias vote Kelly at Tribal, and they're voting Kelly. Alex and Tobias vote Kelly. Peter and Sarah vote vote Raymond. We see Kirby vote Kelly, and we'll get into why Kirby votes Kelly, and then we see Rihanna vote Raymond, and we'll get into why Rihanna votes Raymond very shortly. We see everyone else: Eileen, Scott, Garrick, Barris, Raymond, and Kelly. Those six people vote Peter. Yeah, so coming into Tribal Council, Peter doesn't play her idol, and yeah, I mean, you don't want to go home with an idol in your pocket, and I know what it's like to go home with an idol in your pocket, because, as I was saying before, I played Melbourne Survivor, a trial version, yesterday, and yeah, I went home with an idol in my pocket. It was a complicated vote. It was a double tribal. There was like 5 minutes to discuss 2 tribal councils. And someone else also played an idol, which means I didn't even get the majority of the votes, but yet chaos erupted. I knew my name was out there, but I didn't play my idol because I thought it would be a tie, and I didn't think there wasn't enough time for people to get on the same page to vote me out. So I didn't play my idol, and then I ended up going home. But that's not the point. The point is, yeah, I mean, not great. That sucks. But I mean, if you genuinely felt safe, then I understand why you didn't play it, because I mean, this is a Survivor, and on top of that, it's kind of like bigger risk, bigger risk, bigger reward, small risk, small reward. Where it's like if you don't play your idol on yourself, or like your allies or whatever, if you hear someone's names out there, it's like, okay, I get it, because you want to have that as leverage going forward. Because obviously, if you have like an idol final 5, that's better than having an idol final 8. You know what I mean? Because you have more of a shot at winning, more a shot at getting whatever narrative you want to happen. We continue on, and we see. Sorry guys, I didn't realize I've been talking for almost 40 minutes. Let's go. I guess these recaps are going to be more and more deep every time we do an episode, because I thought this was going to go for like 20 minutes, but apparently it's been almost 40 minutes. Anyways, we continue on, and we see, yeah, so as I said, Rihanna, Kirby votes Kelly. Let me just check that. Yeah, Kirby votes Kelly, and Rihanna votes Raymond. Now, let's explain how that happened. So basically, essentially what happened was Raymond and Kelly, yeah, obviously didn't. Either they didn't vibe, or they just knew that they wanted to vote the Cuddle Crew. Either way, the tribe was divided. The Cuddle Crew, Tobias, Alex, Sarah. Peter wanted to split votes on Raymond and Kelly in case of an idol, and in case of just making sure they're safe, which, fair enough. And I've already explained why that could be beneficial, but I've also explained why it's not beneficial at the same, why it could also backfire, and what I think the better plan is, which is, as I've said before, I think the better plan is getting a small group of people, which could be the 4 of them, aka the Cuddle Crew, to put their votes on the other person in case of enough. I think that's a better plan, because it's less likely to go wrong in the event that one of them does have an idol. Anyways, so we continue on, and because obviously there's less people in the plan, it's less likely to go wrong, right? So having in mind. Oh my god. So we continue on, and Raymond, Eileen, Scott, Yes, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so the six of Eileen, Scott, Garrick, Ferris, Raymond, Kelly, they all vote Peter. Peter goes home with an idol in her pocket. 3 votes of Alex, Tobias, and Kirby vote Kelly, and 3 votes of Raymond, oh my god. Wait, no, not Raymond. Of Rihanna, Sarah, and Peter vote Raymond. And yeah, I mean, look, there's 2 ways I think about Kirby and Rihanna throwing their votes off the 8 pin of everyone minus the Cuddle Crew voting for Peter. There's 2 ways I think about that. One, I understand wanting to play both sides. I understand wanting to play the middle. That's what you're supposed to do in Survivor, or at least that's how I like to play. I like to play the middle. I like to have options. Like Tim Spraggan, you want to have options. That's the best part to play. If everyone thinks you're friends and you're good with them, they're not going to want to vote you out. If everyone thinks you're a part of their plan or that you're close to them, they're not going to want you gone. If they think you're going to do whatever they want, they're going to want to keep you around as a bomb, as a sheep, as a shield, whatever, right? As a number, especially early on in the game. So, the deal is, I understand why Kirby felt the need to do that, but I also think it was a horrible move. Regardless, the Rebels tribe is going to be divided. And you could say, okay, but what about in the event of a swap? It's better to make them feel more that they have more people on their side. I understand that perspective. However, I mean, first of all, if you're trying to prove trust to your alliance, aka really the people who aren't the Cuddle Crew, okay, or at least that's my perception, right? If you and 7 other people have the same agenda, then they're your quote alliance, or is your voting block, right? If your goal is to keep picking off the Cuddle Crew, if you guys use immunity, then the 8 is your crew, your main alliance, your voting block alliance. Even put it this way, even though the 8 is just for probably short term, it's still good to keep solid. You know what I mean? Point is, they want to get rid of the Cuddle Crew. Or Kirby does, because this is Survivor. This isn't the Valiant. All they do is cuddle together. They have to cuddle. They cuddle together, which, yeah, great. That's the errors. But it's like, I just don't think it's a good move, because if you go into, I mean, first of all, people are going to know that the votes don't add up. If you're Eileen, or you're Scott, or you're Ferris, or you're Garrick, or you're Raymond or Kelly, you're going to be like, the votes don't add up. What's going on? And then second, like, you can narrow down the suspects on who flipped. Because yes, you might say Kirby and Rihanna could just lie about their votes. One, what if they're just really bad guys? Like, it's, like, if someone's acting differently, even outside of Survivor, it's, most people can tell if someone acts differently, you know. And secondly, well, that's the hypothetical. Here's the 2 scenarios. So scenario 1 is Kirby and Rihanna did this without telling the rest of the people that they were going to vote with the Cuddle Crew to pretend that they're on their side, but also to play the middle, because you don't want to destroy relationships, you know what I mean, because that's an important element of Survivor. You don't want to isolate people and cut off your options. However, the bad part with that is you're breaking trust with people who you want to work with. If their main crew is everyone minus the Cuddle Crew, why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense to me. The second scenario is that they told them ahead of time that they were doing that, because if they told them ahead of time, it's like, oh, okay, then you're not pissing anyone off. You're not leaving people out of the vote because you've told every single person on that tribe, this is what I'm doing. So then the Cuddle Crew will all trust you. And all of these people will trust you. But at the same time, the problem with that is everyone will know, all the people who aren't in the Cuddle Crew will know that you and the other person, whether you're Rihanna or Kirby, doesn't matter which one you are, that you are trying to play both sides. And that could be very bad because if everyone. Here's something: playing the middle is a good strategy if people don't know that you're playing the middle. If everyone knows that you're not loyal to any particular crew and you're just going with the flow, which is what you're supposed to do, which is what I try to do. And yes, I find, but once you get to a certain point, there are a few people who are like, okay, these are my people. Ideally, people you can beat in the end. If you don't do that, then what are you doing? Like, playing the middle is a great strategy if you're doing that. But the problem is, you don't want people to know that you're playing the middle, so if people know you're playing the middle, it's like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. And I just, look, I get it, but yeah, I think it was the wrong decision. I think you should just vote with your people. Well, not the majority, but you should just vote with the people who aren't the Cuddle Crew. Because if you just go up to the Cuddle Crew and you just be like, look, it scared me how close you guys were. If you're just honest and you sit down with them, they're probably still going to want out Raymond and Kelly. Like, the Cuddle Crew literally threw an immunity challenge to vote one of them out. I don't think, from my perspective, they are not the type of people who would. I mean, first of all, if they hold a grudge, just vote them out. They're on the one. There's nothing that you can do. they can do. You guys have 8 people. They have 3. You can literally split the votes on them. And you've already established a solid group of 8 who have all voted together on the same page in that scenario. So even if they find an idol, it's like, okay, great, well, cool, we can null that idol and still get one of you out. Great for us. So you have a massive group of people who you know are on the same page, going into a swap, building up your army, which is amazing. You want to be together as much as possible, and you're in a good spot strategically. But obviously, that didn't happen. So I'm very interested to see how that turns out because, yeah, it's not what you want. I wouldn't do it. I don't understand why people would do that. I mean, I don't understand why Kirby and Rihanna felt the need to do that. I think you're just pissing people off for no reason. You're making yourself really sketchy because, yeah, I mean, you're just creating this trust within this potential group of 8 that if they are the people you want to work with going forward, why are you causing distrust? Why are you trying to start drama? Like, doesn't make sense to me. And also, why are you telling everyone that you have no loyalty and that you're trying to play the middle? Even if you are playing the middle, you don't want people to know you're playing the middle. You want them to think you're on their side 100%. But yeah, that was what my rant was about when it comes to that. And then last but not least, yeah, so Peter goes home with an idol, 6-3 to 3 votes. 6 votes Peter, 3 votes Kelly, 3 votes Raymond. And then, yeah, we see Eileen. Eileen just gives the best confessional. Because this was already a marvelous episode. And then Eileen in the voting confessional, at the end, like, showing the ending credits, showing who's voting who out. It shows Eileen being like, this isn't Barbie End, this is Survivor. And I was like, like, first of all, you're not wrong. And then secondly, you're like, Eileen, 1, you're on my draft, so I'm going to root for you. 2, you're a super fan. an actual super fan, not one of those like fake people who pretend they're a super fan. Yeah, you're actually dead ass a super fan. So I'm going to root for you because you're one of me. I'm one of you. We're like the same. And then 3, it's like that is so funny. That's so funny. It's like yeah, I might not be physically laughing, but that is it. I'm tired. That is so good, bro. That is such a good confessional. So yeah, I'm hoping we get more Ayeen, get more Scott, get a bit more confessionals. And yeah, the editing for Strange Survivor is actually gotten better too. I feel like we're seeing more people, and I feel like we're getting more perspective. But anyways, that's all I had to talk about today. Thank you all for watching. And till not tomorrow, because tomorrow I might film episode recap 4. If not, I will film it the day after, because tomorrow I'm going to the live premiere of Australian Survivor, the live meetup with George, Johnny Fairplay, Shannon Goss, and a bunch of other Australian Survivor contestants and Annabelle from the trailers. So I'm extremely excited to meet them, get photos, watch the premiere with them, and he from Shannon Goss, one of the, and probably the most expert person ever about Australian Survivor. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.